The stereotype of a dumb jock. First, we will see if this is a familiar stereotype to people.
I am familiar with the stereotype of the dumb jock.
Are you familiar with the stereotype of the dumb jock?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the stereotype of the dumb jock?
I am. Been one my whole life.
Are you familiar with the stereotype of the dumb jock?
Yes, I am.
Now we ask, why is this a stereotype?
Why in general do you believe this is a stereotype?
I think for most people, their experiences with a couple of jocks who may not be the most intelligent people, I think they assume that that's true for everyone in athletics. But I think that stereotype could be for any demographic or any group. There's always going to be highly intelligent people, there's going to be low intelligent people. I think with jocks, it just kind of stuck because it was comical and it was funny, and people just kind of had a way of making fun of it.
Why in general do you believe this stereotype exists?
I think most people think that athletes in general are people that just go out and play a sport, don't have to think, just do it. It just comes natural to everybody.
Next, we ask for them to share their personal experiences of the stereotype.
What has your experience been as a non-athlete in the classroom with the stereotype?
Honestly, it's kind of a mix. There's some people who are pretty stupid and that play sports, but at the same time, there are some really smart guys who play football and other sports.
Awesome. What has your experience been with this stereotype?
Well, I don't know if it's because of playing sports, but people typically think I'm dumb. So there's that, and then you see it like a lot on media, and it's just kind of like a nosy thing.
So, as a student athlete, what has your experience been with this?
Personally, I haven't had much experience with it, but overall it's still there. Like, people that are student athletes are still interpreted as being dumb.
Did you have experiences in your own life?
Yes, I did. When I was in middle school, we had a group that always thought the football players, basketball players were a bunch of dummies just out there playing sports.
Experience this in your own life?
I didn't personally experience it with other people, but I did have friends who were very into athletics, who played football in high school and even beyond in college. And when they would meet new people and talk to them and let them know what they did, that they played football or whatever, people would immediately assume that they were, the dumb jock stereotype. But it was really fun watching them continue to have a conversation and continue to interact with these people, and the look of kind of surprise and awe on their face when they realized this guy was actually extremely intelligent, extremely smart.
The University Interscholastic League, or UIL, is an organization that creates rules for all athletic, music, and academic contests for public primary and secondary schools in the American state of Texas. Within UIL, there are certain eligibility requirements all athletes or jocks have to meet before being able to attend any extracurricular activities. The main requirement is that they have to be passing their class with a 70 average at the minimum, and school requirements of attendance in class. The athletes now will share with us the amount of AP or college level classes they are taking and their current GPA.
What AP classes are you taking, and what is your current GPA?
I'm taking 4, and my GPA right now is about a 109.
I'm taking 3 AP classes, and as of right now, my GPA is a 99.
Now we will be asking coaches a series of questions about athletes and their perspective of a dumb jock.
Playing sports.
What measures do you do as a coach to ensure that players keep a healthy focus on their education?
Well, we check grades every week. You should know that, Marco. And make sure that they know that our focus is for them to graduate, walk the stage, because that's the most important thing.
From a coach's perspective, are student athletes first students or athletes?
Students first, because if they don't pass their classes, they can never be an athlete.
Can athletics actually afford to be dim-witted on the field?
No, never.
So what did you do as a coach to ensure that your students or athletes didn't fail or be those stereotypes?
We had a lot of procedures and fail-safes to make sure that our athletes were staying up with their grades. We would do routine checks of their grades to check and make sure that our guys were turning in their work, were on top of their assignments and things like that. I would also kind of pinpoint which athletes were struggling in classes, and I would give them a little bit of leniency with attending trainings and practices if they needed to go and make up work and things like that. Because especially in high school, you're here for your education, not necessarily to play athletics.
So from a coach's perspective, do you think a student athlete is a student before an athlete or an athlete before a student?
Definitely a student before an athlete, no question. Athletics and playing sports in high school is definitely a privilege. It's not necessarily a right. You earn the right to play in a sport by doing well in your classes.
Can athletes actually afford to be dumbwitted on the field?
Unfortunately, not really. If an athlete is not apt to pick up strategies and tactics and patterns and trends in the game, it usually translates to them not doing very well in the game. Athleticism will get you pretty far, but there comes a certain point where you got to have the brains and the bronze.
So what has your experience been with the student athletes in the classroom?
Actually, a lot of my experiences have been very positive. I think, especially here at Dripping Springs, the coaches do a really good job of making sure that their athletes are doing well in their classes. The athletes that I've found that struggle in class, or maybe not even struggle, but tend to sort of put off classes and focus more on athletics, they tend to start to lose points on their grade, and then the coach either punishes them or gives them a consequence, or eventually they're removed from the team.
So cool. Are you familiar with the stereotype of the dope jock?
Yes.
Or before?
So cool. Are you familiar with the stereotype of the dope jock?
Not really. Oh, I don't play sports.
So cool. Wait,
Hi, I'm Cole Brownell.
I don't play sports.
I don't play
Wait,
sports.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Good.
I'm Alex.